And thank you everyone for attending. Honored to be here talking with you today. I'm going to go through a lot of things today. My objective is not to teach you specifically how to do things, but to maybe show you some ways that you can use AI and give you some ideas. I'm sorry. And give you some ideas of how you can incorporate AI into your own courses, into your jobs, into your own personal workflows. I will go ahead and share my screen. So as I mentioned, my objectives are to share some creative uses and to get you thinking about how you can integrate it into your own personal usage. If you've ever seen my presentations before, you know I'm under the philosophy that all presentations should start with a song. And I have a song for you today. Let me get this out of my way so I can push play.
Hello, star, we're rising fast. AI's here, the future's vast. Helping students learn and grow. Personalized and in the flow. AI powered side by side. Teaching strong with human pride. Lone Star College, we lead the way. The future's bright.
So you may find that somewhat creepy, but that's okay. I first did an avatar in my presentation on AI 2 years ago in March, actually. And the quality of the avatar from then until now is a lot different. This guy is more expressive. The lip sync is better. And I just do this to kind of show where the technology is at today. And I like to see that progress and see how it changes over time. Some other things I'm going to share as we get started is just to share where some of these AI tools are at in terms of today, as of right now, and their capabilities. First tool I'll show is Gemini Deep Research. And in that model, I gave it a very simple prompt. Write a research paper about the role of pyruvic acid in anaerobic glycolysis as a community college freshman would write it. It then goes through this whole process and it creates a plan. And I can read through that plan and I can come in here and I can click edit the plan if I don't like it. Then I click submit to start the research. It can research, in this case, it researched, I believe, I'll look at the end, but like 30 different sources, and it wrote this paper. And any of these down arrows, I can click to see exactly where the source came from. So as I scroll down to the end, it shows that it used all these different sources and thoughts. I can look at the thought process. So I went through a thought process saying, I'm starting to understand how our muscles, the journey, then it researched these websites. Then it asked more questions. I've learned about this. So next it creates the plan and then it seeks out more sources. And it does this all to create that comprehensive paper that it wrote at the end. In this tool, Gemini Advanced, I can also click this little icon right here in the top right to create an audio overview.
Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder how you can suddenly, push really hard, like sprinting for a bus, even when you feel totally out of breath? Well, today we're diving into how your body fuels those bursts, focusing on this molecule called pyruvic acid.
Exactly. We're going to explore the science behind that.
What that does is whatever that document created was, it will create an interactive, somewhat interesting, hopefully very interesting podcast conversation about what the paper you just generated. So that's a pretty cool tool. You can also click export to docs, and now I have it automatically exported into Google Docs. I can come in here, edit it, change it however I need to, and at the very end, it's got all of the sources that were used. We're excited. And in this case, it used 39 sources to write this paper. So if you think about it, how long would it take you to research and it looked through probably 200 sources and it chose 39. How long would it take you to look through 200 sources, read them, determine which ones to use, and then to write your document? This does it in less than 5 minutes. That power is used, of course, for good and for bad, depending on who you are and what the purpose is. And another powerful tool I'm going to show, just so you can kind of see where things are at, is u.com. I gave it a very simple prompt, which is right here highlighted, about agentic AI, and complete an online course. About a little over a month ago, I created a video and posted it on LinkedIn, which created a big, huge stir. And in this video, I wrote a prompt. I said, this is my username, this is my password. Log into my course at Canva. I didn't use D2L because I didn't want to get in trouble with IT. So I used Canva account. I said, log into Canva, navigate to the quizzes and take the quizzes. Then navigate to the written paper, write the paper and submit it. And then I click submit. I took my hands off the computer. It automatically opened a browser window. It navigated to canvas.com. It then logged in, typed my username, typed my password, clicked submit. It navigated the quizzes. It took the quizzes for me. I got an A. Thank you very much. It then went to the part for the written paper and it read the requirements, it wrote the paper, and it submitted it. I just sat there and watched. I didn't do anything, and my complete course was submitted without any interaction on my behalf. Obviously, you can understand that that is a huge issue, and the Lone Star College IT sent my video to D2L and asked that they work on some things to help prevent agents from coming in here and taking our courses. But I do believe the real key is going to be how we modify our assignments, how we modify our assessments, so that AI is a welcome tool, but the objective is still being achieved for what you want the student to learn. Anyway, this is my prompt, so I wrote this report. And again, it has all the sources. This will search through 400 sources, select the best ones, and it will write the report. It's very detailed and very long. And at the end, I can click download report. So I click download, and it gives me this. It created this cover image. It created the table of contents. And it goes through and it gives me the very nice organized report. And at the end, it has the 73 sources that it used. Now, again, to do that type of research and get this type of information and this type of a report would take me a whole year probably to do all that. But this was 5 minutes. You can get reports on any topic that you want. So if you are wondering about something or you need to do something different in your course or in any topic, generate a detailed report and you'll have a really great resource. Prompting is definitely a useful skill. I'm going to show a few examples of how you can enhance your prompting. One is just understanding that the format that it gives you the data can save you a lot of time. If you have a list of things that you need to import into Excel or you need them in a table format, have AI do it for you. So in ChatGPT, I just said list 3 vegetables and format as these different ways. And so as you can see, here's a table, a bullet list, HTML, JavaScript, emojis, CSV files for easy import into Excel, SQL for programming, database, LaTeX, and the list goes on and on and on. Any type of format that you would need data in, you can get it. You can upload a spreadsheet and have it converted into any type of data. That's a huge time saver if you do need to work with data. Some other prompting tips. Take a deep breath and work on this problem step by step. Tell that in your prompt and you will get better results. If you tell it, this is very important to my career, it can increase the accuracy by 8 to 20%. And if you tell it, if you give it a thorough answer, I will tip you $20. it will do better for you. That seems very surprising that it operates like that. Research confirms it. And if you think about it, it was trained on human data. And it picked up the fact that if you tip someone, they're going to work harder. If someone's going to get fired if they don't do a good job, they'll work harder. And if you take a deep breath, think, relax, work on a step by step, you can usually perform better as well. So pick that up in the training data, and when you put that in your prompts, that carries over. Now, my best prompting advice to you is initially don't worry about the prompt. Whatever you want it to do, just write it. Say it as simply as you can and put in your prompt and see what the output is. If the output is not how you want it to be, then use one of these tactics or one of the other tactics that I'll share with you in a moment. First strategy, ask it to adopt a persona. Anytime I want to make sure I get good quality output, my go-to prompt is this. In the role of an award-winning blank, whatever role, like it might be a biology professor, in the role of an award-winning biology professor with 20 years experience, because I would rather have an answer from that person versus somebody with 1 week of experience. So 20 years experience. And then I tell it what I want. And recently the Turing test was passed and by ChatGPT 4.5. The difference of the Turing test being passed and not being passed was assigning a persona. If you say in the role of, or you are a, that enabled the Turing test to pass with version 4.5 of ChatGPT. But if they didn't say in the role of, it did not pass the test. So that just illustrates how important it is to assign a role to answer your question. Number 2, include details. And that's really just boils down to good communication. If you're good with communication, if you're good at writing, this is second nature to you. So instead of saying, what are some good teaching methods? Say, as a college professor, and there's an example prompt that you can read on your own, but the more details you give the model, the better the output. Just like if you're talking to a colleague, the more details you give them about an issue you're having, the better chance they'll be able to understand it. Use delimiters. So delimiters are XML tags, or you could use like 3 apostrophes. The idea is that you use something that's not found in regular English language. The XML tags are really great because they're descriptive. You read them and you know what it is. When you look at this, you can see where course description begins, and that slash with course description shows you where it ends. And as a bigger example, you can see course description, learning objectives, and assessment methods, and then you could go on and give it your prompt. What this does is it helps organize the data for the large language model, and it helps it understand it better. And because it understands it better, it gives you better results. Specify steps for task completion. So you tell, I was at a presentation a couple years ago, and the presenter said, you cannot write a book using ChatGPT because you run out of space. And I was just kind of thinking, no, you can write a book with ChatGPT. You don't do it all in one prompt. You break it down. You say, give me an outline for this idea. Then write the first part of chapter 1. Write the next part of chapter 1. And you do it in little blocks and steps. So if you prompt in steps, that can help you get better results. There are models now, thinking models, where you don't have to prompt it to do steps because it will automatically do that. But like a lot of your base models, they do not do that by default, so it's still a good idea. Give it a reference text to refer to. That's called grounding. If you give it a document as a source material, tell it to refer to that document. And also tell it, if you don't know the answer, say so. You don't have to come up with an answer if you don't know it. Ask for answers with citations. So if you upload a document and say, I want you to give me citations for where you're getting this information using my document, something along those lines. Use intent classification for relevant instructions. So you could tell it, classify course management queries into and then break it up into different categories or classify it. That'll help keep things organized. Summarize. And I'm sure anyone that uses AI uploads a document and they say, hey, summarize this for me. There's other things that you can do to make that even better. You first tell it summarize, and it does. And then you say, in the role of a biology professor, what should I know about this document? And then it will tell you. And then you can say, what are some questions about this document that I should ask? Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And then it will tell you that questions that you should ask. The questions of interest, you go back and ask. That's a really great framework to really analyze a document without reading it word for word. Chatbots. B.F. Skinner's teaching machine, he theorized that if you give instant feedback to students, that learning occurs faster and better. We now have B.F. Skinner's teaching machine in the form of a chatbot. And these are awesome tools. I'm just curious, how many of you have created a chatbot?
So can you, for those of us who may not even, what is a chatbot, period? So I know if I made one or not.
That's a very good question. If you made one, you would know. I'm going to show some examples of chatbots. And basically, you give a prompt that's always saved for you. And you can upload documents to it. Then anytime you go back to that chatbot, you don't have to prompt it. You don't have to give it the document because it's already there. So it just simplifies your interactions with the AI. Options, ChatGPT. If you pay for ChatGPT, $20 a month, you can create a GPT, which is a chatbot. Free users can use your chatbot. So I recommend that if you are a paid user. Claude is an excellent tool. It's called a project, but paid users to create it and paid users to use them. What I recommend for people that don't pay for anything is Poe, POE.com. Free users can create chatbots and free users can use them. And the same thing for Zapier. Some applications, syllabus interaction. I've uploaded my syllabus and created a chatbot out of it. My students can have a conversation with the syllabus. They can go in there and say, please explain this assignment to me. Who is my professor? When is my final exam? How do I get an A in this course? Any type of questions they have about the course that's in the syllabus, they can now have an interaction with. Conversational debate, I'll show an example of that. Policy generation. This is a very short list of things you can do with chatbots. Let me show an example. And this is a part of the prompt that I put in there, and I'll show what this prompt does and why it's important. In Poe, which is free, I created a prompt and then I had a conversation. And just to show you the output, when I came into this chatbot, it said, hello, my name is Aiden. What is your name? Would you like to debate from the perspective of a union, from North or South, politician or soldier? So I said, you will be a Confederate and I will be a Union. Which, by the way, when I moved to Houston from Iowa, I was shocked how many people called me a Yankee. I was just like, I thought the Civil War was over, but apparently not for everyone. I don't know. But anyway, I said, you'll be a Confederate soldier, I'll be Union. So then it welcomes me, howdy, Private Tim of the Union Army, and it takes on the role of that soldier. And then it asked me, what's my perspective? I said, you want state rights at the expense of human rights. And then it's a debate, so it's going to stick up for its purpose and reason. And then I said, discretions of the past is no reason to continue them into the future. Every human has the right to freedom. And again, it's going to stick up for its own point of view from the South. Then I got a little bit argumentative and I said, we will settle this at Gettysburg, you and me. Gettysburg, huh? And so then it starts a little bit of trouble. Here's the magic, in my opinion, of this chat. I typed finish chat, and that's something I programmed into it. When I type finish chat, it gives a summary of the entire conversation. it gives a sentiment analysis, and then it gives suggested reading based on the conversation that took place. And that's it. And what's nice about this task is I could then go back and I could debate from the view of a politician or a Southern soldier or a Southern politician. I could do it from every viewpoint so that I could learn and try to understand where other people are coming from. In any debate topic, you can have students debate it from all point of views to understand that your point of view may not be correct. The way this works, to set these up is so easy. You come in here.
Oh, damn.
Someone's not muted. But you come in here and you select prompt bot. You give it a name. And I made this a while ago, so this is an old model. What I would recommend now is going with Claude 3.7 Sonnet would probably be your best option here. Here is my prompt, which this was a pretty advanced technical prompt. Remember when I opened the chatbot up, this is what it said, "Hi, my name is Aiden," because I told it to. Then I give it some perspective of what its goal is, some ideas for scenarios for debate, customized learning paths. Here's where that finish chat comes in. When you enter finish chat, and that could be anything you want. I just made finish chat up because that's not a word. I will summarize the key points, provide a sentiment analysis, and give recommendations for further reading. And that's the prompt. Then I just click publish, share the link with my students, and they can go debate in Civil War or whatever topic you want. So that is an example of a chatbot. That last part with finish chat, that promotes reflective learning. It gives valuable feedback and assessment, personalized learning experience, encourages active engagement. And I mean, that's a lot of benefits just from typing finish chat. So I do encourage you to program that into any chatbot that you use with students. To make it an assignment, students could then export the conversation to a document, or they could just share the link. Then they write a reflection paper. What did I learn from this? What did I like? What didn't I like? And then they do fact checking. They have to supply 3 sources for fact checking. So now it's research, it's a reflective paper, and it's an interactive experience. It's a lot more interesting for many students than reading an article about the Civil War. Now they're in there interacting and talking about it. Here's another use of a chatbot. I'm going to show you my ugly course. Right here. This is the activity tracker assignment, which is just plain, a couple images, and then the rest is just plain text. Research shows if you aesthetically design a course so that it's pleasing to the eye, success rates increase. Syllabi that are designed with looking nice. Anything that you have to read, like this assignment descriptions, is going to help contribute to student success. What I did is took this in D2L and I select it and I come up here to this where it says source code and I click on that. That shows me the HTML. All I have to do is select all of it, Control A to select all, Control C to copy it. Then I come over to a chatbot. This chatbot, I already programmed with the prompt. All I did is I pasted that HTML that you just saw from the assignment right into this window. And I did this ahead of time. So I pasted the HTML from my ugly looking assignment. And then this redesigned it to this. All I have to do is click this to copy it. I come back to D2L, I paste it in that window, and I click save. And I'll click update, and now we'll look at the difference. Notice how it broke it up into different cards and it formatted it differently. The layout is much better. The structure is much better. The important note is separated. That is much more appealing than just reading plain ugly text. And it took me how long to do that just now? 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I redesigned my entire course in less than 15 minutes using this process. So that's one really great use I would encourage. Next, chatbot assignment. For the chatbot assignment, my students are required, well, not required, but for one of the assignments, they create a chatbot. And not only do they have to create it, but they find 3 sources. So they have to go out and research what are 3 good sources for my topic, and they upload that into the knowledge base. They design the prompt. They have to write the prompt themselves. Then they have a conversation with the chatbot. Then they turn in an analysis paper that they write. And then after they write that paper and have the chat, they also have to do fact checking. And as you notice, this assignment was laid out. You know, it's an attractive looking assignment with the text and the layout. I put that into my chatbot previously. And I put this nice tips for success right in there for me. Then I took my assignment and I copy and pasted it into my rubric generating chatbot. And it took my assignment and it created this robust, detailed grading rubric, which I can then go in there and I can change it, modify it to suit my own personal needs. All done with chatbots. And of course, your subject matter knowledge and expertise is what makes this really work, because you look at the rubric and you can change it and tweak it. You look at the assignment. Oh yes, Amberly, good question. Does it look good on a mobile device too? If we come into this prompt that I wrote, here's my prompt. Some things I did in the prompt. I used Lone Star College colors, that's the blue colors. Requirement is for accessibility is I believe it's 2.1 AA. I set it to 2.2 AAA, so it's supercharged on accessibility. AI is doing the work, not me, I might as well. And then I also told it responsiveness. So responsiveness refers to how it looks like on different screen widths. So yes, Amberly, it looks fantastic on mobile or any screen. It's going to adjust because it's responsive and it looks great. Talked about images, accessibility again. If you notice, this is important to my job, so I gave the AI $50 tip to do a good job. And I also told it to take a deep breath. So those I put in there at the end. Now I never have to write this prompt. This prompt took a long time to write and to tweak and fine tune. Now that I have it, I never have to write it again because it's always saved here. Just come in here, I paste whatever I need into that window, upload it, and I will get that HTML back out automatically. A chatbot assignment creator for you. If you do want a chatbot assignment for your course, I'll show you how easy that is. We come over here to my chatbot assignment creator. I say, hi. It says, what kind of assignment are you looking to grade? All I have to do is tell it grade level, discipline, topic. That's it. That's all I had to prompt it. And it creates a chatbot assignment for me based on that. Build a knowledge base with 3 credible sources. It tells us this is what you would copy and paste, edit it, and then share it with your students. Again, that's any topic, any discipline. Yeah, I missed that question.
So, Amberly also mentioned that this is great and can be done when creating a file in D2L, also not just the descriptions.
Oh, yes, yes. So if you want to put the HTML into D2L, you put it into this description field, or you can create a file which enables you to edit the HTML in that as well. Not all parts of D2L allow HTML to be inserted, but description and files absolutely do allow it. How does the product compare with Magic School AI? Magic School AI probably uses the same code base as what this is using. It's using either OpenAI or it's using Anthropic, which is Claude, or it's using Gemini API. And it just did the prompts for you. I like this a million times better than Magic School because I have 100% control over my output because I can change those prompts to whatever I want. Magic School is a great tool for getting started, but when you want full freedom to really control your output, ChatGPT, Claude, Google AI Studio, Gemini are all fantastic choices. Which, by the way, Google AI Studio, on many benchmarks, that's the #1 tool. And it's free. So I strongly encourage you to use Google AI Studio. Another huge advantage is how much information you can put into the AI. For example, ChatGPT has a content window of 128,000 tokens, meaning once you put more than 128,000 tokens worth of information, it runs out of space and can't digest that anymore. Claude has 200,000. AI Studio has 2 million. So if you have huge documents, huge spreadsheets that you need to analyze and work with AI, Google AI Studio is really a fantastic tool. Data analytics. Show an example of that. What I did for this one, I uploaded a spreadsheet that shows government courses and it's got the dates. What are the enrollment numbers at each weekly date and for which courses and which instructors? I uploaded that spreadsheet to Claude and I already made a GPT with it. So I already have the prompt in there. All I did is upload the spreadsheet. And what this prompt does is it says, analyze the data and then give me an idea of 10 beneficial reports that I could create with the data. Because like I said before, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And I get this report of saying, these are the different reports that I could generate for you based on the data. And I read through those and I think, I didn't even think about doing a report like that with this data. So now I can just come in here and I select which one I want. I selected 2. So 2 is course popularity comparison. I typed 2. It created timing patterns. It's telling me major enrollment increases during which 2 periods, session type impact, comparative demand. And then I told it, make an interactive dashboard with filtering. And this is the output of that. If you look here on the right side, I can filter out different instructors. Like I could take Mayonnaise and remove her stats from this. I could take out Beth. I could take out 8-week 3, 8-week 4 classes and see what the numbers look like. I could also select different date ranges. And this is fully interactive. So when I make these changes up here, I see the changes in my chart instantly occur. And this was created from uploading a spreadsheet. And what I do, I said, I picked a number 2, and then I said, make an interactive dashboard with filtering. And I have this. What a powerful way, an easy way to look at data in ways you may have never even thought of looking at data. NotebookLM is a fantastic, amazing tool. And it does a lot. I'll show you a few things in a moment. For example, for this example, I uploaded my course syllabus, which you see here on the left. How does the output format? Are you referring to the chart I just demonstrated? You can turn on your audio if you want to. It's formatted. It really depends on the prompt and what type of information I need. I could tell it, I need a pie chart, I need a bar chart, I need Gantt chart, whatever you want. That's the type of format it will give you. And then you can share a link to that, or you can export that chart as a image that you can embed into different places. Does that answer your question? Export features. Publish and copy link. So I would then share that link. I could embed that link into my D2L or send it out in an email. I uploaded my course syllabus. It gave this instant quick little summary. And then I came over here and I said, I clicked on this, frequently asked questions. It will analyze my syllabus and come up with what questions are most likely to be asked by students. But look, what's the issue here? It's really ugly and difficult to read. So I just copied that. I came back over here to my D2L assignments beautified. I pasted it in there and I'll let it run its magic. We'll come back to there in a moment. Another part of this tool is I clicked on mind map. So now I have a mind map of my entire course. I can zoom in, zoom out. I can come in here and look at assignments. That expands, it shows all my different assignments. And then if I want to learn more about one, I click on that, it shows more, details more. If I click on any of these, let's see, when I click on that, it sends it to the chat. And then we can have a chat about it and I can ask questions. So again, this is where you can ask questions. In this case, ask questions about my syllabus. But had I uploaded a different type of document, I would be having a conversation about that specific document. And I can say, tell me more about this, explain that, please go into more detail, whatever you want. It's a nice chat source. Let's see if we're done over here. Still working. The thing that really put NotebookLM onto the map was their audio overview feature. All I'd had to do is click generate audio overview and it created a podcast about my syllabus. I'm not going to play this one for you, but I'm going to see where it says interactive mode. I could click on that and I can be part of the podcast. Here's a pre-recorded example of that.
All right, so get this. Today we are taking a deep dive into, well, it might not sound super exciting at first, but trust me, this is going to be good. A college syllabus.
Oh, yeah, this one is interesting.
But not just any syllabus.
No.
This is the syllabus for Introduction to Physical Fitness and Wellness.
Oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hi, my name is Tim. Could you please explain the activity tracker assignment?
Absolutely, I can help with that.
Yeah, let's unpack this because it's actually pretty interesting.
So the activity tracker assignment is all about, getting you moving.
Right. It's not just about learning.
So think about this. A student could come into my course and they could see this section for syllabi. They can read the syllabus. They can listen to a podcast about the syllabus. They can have a chat with the syllabus. And I'm going to also show how you can have a conversation about the syllabus with 2 avatars. So it's a lot of different ways that students can learn about their assignment or learn about their course or their syllabi, and it keeps it interesting. For that ugly frequently asked questions, look what it's transformed into. So much better. Easy to read, more inviting to come actually want to take a look at it. Even put a table in there. To get that into D2L is so easy. Just come in here to this, shows the HTML, copy it, go into D2L and you just paste it into description or into a file, and it's going to look exactly like this. Can you make it into accordions or tabs? Yes, you can. What you would do is tell it to use The current version of Bootstrap is 5.3.3. So in your prompt, you would say, make it compatible with Bootstrap 5.3.3. It should then put the link to access the Bootstrap code, CSS specifically. And then when you paste that in there, it will reference that. So you absolutely can make accordions. I need a whole course on this language. But yeah, Bootstrap is what is responsible for making accordions and tabs. Bootstrap is a framework. It's an HTML framework used for designing web pages. But when you apply it to your course, in fact, in my course, I created in D2L, you can create templates. There it is, or you could just use the templates. So I made my own templates, and in the template, I put in the HTML, I put the code for Bootstrap. I put code for Font Awesome, which shows icons and emoji type things. And I also put the code for Google Fonts so that I can use, I don't know how, 1 million different fonts, should I so choose to, which of course you should not use 1 million in the same article, 1 or 2 preferably. But in D2L, the templates feature is really powerful that you can design, you can make it look exactly like nicely designed web pages. But the Bootstrap framework makes it very easy to create nice looking pages. In fact, what you're looking at right now, I modeled after Bootstrap, how it would look in a Bootstrap, because in Bootstrap, you have use of cards, which is these sections that are kind of this white block. But I didn't use Bootstrap because I just wanted to show how to do it with just HTML code and inline CSS, which CSS is just kind of the code that shows, it shows the HTML how it should look. Anyway, we're, like was mentioned, we're getting ahead with all these other terms. Back on track. Here's an example of, I made I uploaded a document to Google AI Notebook LM. I created a podcast. I then took that podcast and I created this Pocket AI speaker separation tool that takes the male and the female voice, separates them into 2 separate files. Then I gave it to HeyGen, which generates the avatars. Then I used Camtasia and Canva to just put like the microphone in there. And made this whole thing work. So what you heard before, that audio podcast, here it is, a different podcast, but same concept applied to avatars.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You know, sometimes a book lands on your desk and you just know this is gonna be good.
And I think that might be what happened over at Chancellor Castillo's office, right?
Right. Someone slipped him a copy of Change by Design by Tim Brown. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, it's a classic in the design world.
So we're taking a deep dive into Change by Design, trying to figure out what makes this book so special and why.
And that's just one more example of how you could give content to your students. Could be just the podcast, or it could be something like this, a video podcast with 2 avatars having a conversation. Really the more choices you give for how information is consumed, can really attract students for different reasons. If you're driving in your car and you want to listen to the podcast about your course or about an assignment or about a book you're reading, you now have a podcast. So it's a very convenient, fabulous tool that's free to use. And also with ChatGPT, they're offering it free for students until I believe the end of June. And Google is offering all their AI products for free until like 1 year from June. So they have like 1.5 years left. To create the avatar using Google AI, can I share the steps? The steps in Google Notebook LM, you just upload your document and you click Create Audio Overview. So you have that audio file. Jump over there. Here's my audio file. I downloaded it. Now I have an MP3 file. I then took that MP3 file, and what I have to do is separate, so you have two voices. You need to have one for the female, one for the male. I use this tool that I created, Pocket AI Speaker Separation Tool. All you do is very simple. You upload that MP3 file to that tool. It will then create two brand new files, one with a female voice, one with a male voice, and they're both of equal length, so that you then give the one file to the one avatar and the other file to the other avatar. HeyGen to create avatars, that's what I use and that's what I recommend, because the quality of the avatars is some of the best you'll find anywhere. And for $29 a month, you can make unlimited avatars. All the other competitors charge you based on usage, but this is unlimited for 29 bucks. So in HeyGen, you just upload the two files, make your avatars. You splice it together in Premiere Pro or Camtasia. In fact, without going through the details, later at the end of my presentation, I actually did make a YouTube tutorial of how to do this exact thing step by step. So if that is something you want to make, you can access my YouTube channel and you can see a detailed tutorial on how to do so. But what I shared just now is kind of a quick general overview without getting too detailed into it, just to give you an idea. Next, we have create quizzes for D2L. Have you ever created a quiz, wrote the quiz, then put it into D2L one by one? It takes forever and it's not a fun chore. No more. I created a chatbot. This one took a long time. I'm going to show you my prompt, and that's why it took so long. It was very difficult to get this right. So here's the prompt. And it has to all be in a very specific format for output. All the different question types. You know, unless you really looked into it, D2L has probably more question types than what most people realize. Everyone knows true, false, multiple choice, but it offers a lot more than that. Multi-select, ordering questions. So again, here's my prompt. Take a deep breath, work through the step by step. That's the prompt. To use it is so easy. Once that prompt is there, just using this, which everybody has access to, I came in and I just typed create new questions, or I could have said hi, but it will ask me, what's your topic, grade level, course code, and number of questions. So I said nutrition, freshman, 1164. I want 2 questions, multiple choice. It created the question, and what's nice about this, it also creates the hint and the feedback that will automatically go into your quiz section in D2L. There's my second question. I could have edited these if I wanted to, and then I tell it, then it will automatically format it in proper format in a CSV file. I click here to download the file. I go to D2L to the quizzes section. I click on import quiz, upload that CSV file, and it populates the quiz section with these questions, the hint, and the feedback. So you could make a 20-question quiz in less than 10 minutes, whereas before it would have taken multiple hours. Here's some examples of a different mode of assignments. And I'm going to show a couple examples of these. I'm going to skip past this one. This I'm going to share because I think it makes a really good point at the end.
Hello, I would like to use the rubber ducking method of debugging, and I will explain a difficult concept, and then I would like you to tell me how I could have explained it better and give me key points as to what I said well and what I did not.
Okay, I'm ready to help you with your rubber duck debugging. I can give you feedback on your explanations and point out areas where you might want to add more details or break things down further. Start whenever you're ready.
I will explain VO2 max, and that is the body's ability to utilize consumed oxygen, and it is measured in ml per kg per minute.
It sounds like you're explaining what VO2 max is, but it might help to give some context. Is there a specific reason you're explaining this, like to someone training for a sport?
It's something I teach in my course.
Okay, in that case, it might be helpful to start off with a real-world example of why VO2 max matters. You could say something like, imagine you're a marathon runner. Your VO2 max is a really important measure of your endurance because it shows how efficiently your body can use oxygen during a long run.
That's a great tip.
I can also help you brainstorm ways to make your explanations more engaging. Would you like to try explaining another concept?
No, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Let me know if you change your mind.
This is a great method that you could share your lecture material with. In fact, I just learned when I talk about VO2 max, how to make it more engaging for my students instead of boring them talking about ml per kg per minute. So it can give nice advice. You can role play. Students can do the same. You can do foreign language practice. I'm not going to play this one or else you'll all hear my horrible Spanish attempt. Debate preparation, you can tell it what role. You could do that whole Civil War debate with this as well. Give it the prompt, read the prompt, then say, all right, let's role play, ready, or let's debate, ready, go. This is a phone app, Gemini, Google Gemini. You can use it on your phone. You can use it on your computer. And ChatGPT has a voice mode. Other AI tools have voice modes as well. I selected Gemini just because of the larger token window. Other ideas. In this example, which I'm not going to play, we made a story together. I gave the first couple sentences of a story, then it gave a couple sentences. I built on that. We build on each other to come up with a story. So it makes you be creative, think on the fly, and at the end you have a story. Personalized tutoring, can ask it to explain a concept. You could upload a document to it and then say, hey, let's have a conversation about this. You ask it questions, and you could even explain, I'm going to explain the concept of VO2 max. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. Give feedback once I finish, and then go. Practice memorization, accessibility usages. For students that struggle with reading or writing, they can now have a conversation with the information. Collaborative learning simulations. After COVID, when students came into the classroom, as I'm sure many of you did, I noticed the social skills were not all that stellar. The very first day of class, 100% of the students sat in there looking at their phones. Not one word was said. So I just sat there looking and waiting until it was time to start class. And then I stood up and said, may I have your attention, please? I have an announcement that's going to shock you. You're not even going to believe it. It used to be students would come into class and they would actually talk to each other. And then some of the students would laugh. And then I would talk to them about, you know, it doesn't matter sometimes how much you know or how smart you are. If you can't communicate with other people, you're going to have a hard time getting a job, keeping a job, and just having good relationships throughout your lifetime. Communication skills are something that you can practice and get better at. I would like for you to turn to the person sitting next to you, introduce yourself, and ask them some open-ended questions to learn a little bit about them. So they all did. They're all talking. Then the next class they came in, everybody's talking. The rest of the semester, I didn't have any more of that sitting on the phone just staring at it. But there's students that are very shy and they have trouble communicating, they have trouble talking. So they can role play with AI and they tell it, hey, I'm not very comfortable talking to people or working in groups. And this is a simulation I did for that purpose. I'll go ahead and play this.
I'm a very shy person, but I need to learn how to work in a group for one of my college courses. What I would like to do is practice with you so that I can learn how to use teamwork and communication skills in a safe environment. Please help me with this. Let's role play. Go.
Okay, so for this role play, we're gonna pretend you and I are working together on a project. Does that sound good?
Perfect. Sounds great.
All right, so let's say we have to build a bridge together. We need to figure out what materials to use, the measurements, the whole design process. Do you have any ideas to get us started?
Let's create a list of tasks that we need to do, and then we'll determine who is going to do what. After we each do our task, we'll come back and we'll meet and we'll share our notes.
All right, sounds like a plan. How about I start by making a list of the materials we might need?
I would prefer to make the list.
Sure, go ahead and make the list. I'm ready whenever you are.
Can you tell me some feedback of how I did so far?
You seem really organized with your approach. It's smart to break down the tasks, and taking the lead on that list is a good step. Maybe when you get to the sharing part, you can ask me if there's anything I'd add to the list or any tasks I noticed that we might be missing. Does that sound doable?
Wonderful. Thank you.
In that interaction, I learned that I need to get her involved more and ask her what she wants to contribute instead of just being a project hog and saying I'll do everything myself. So that was a beneficial interaction. What you can do with that, have students do an assignment, have them submit a link or a file containing the interaction. On the right side of the screen, you see all that gets saved as text. So that could be put into a document. Then they can write a reflection paper on that of what did I learn, what went well, what didn't go well, and so on and so on. So that can be a very robust, unique, and interesting assignment for students. It's also important to discuss ethical considerations and cognitive offloading, where students understand if they use AI for everything, they're not going to be able to think with their own minds. You know, just like exercise, if you don't use your muscles, they atrophy and you lose the ability to move. Same thing with thinking. You have to think and use your brain to keep it developing. And when students understand that, they may be less likely to outsource 100% of everything all the time. The million-dollar question, how do I create assignments that make it difficult for students to use AI on their assignments? So instead of analyze themes, tell them connect personal experience, or instead of describe the causes of, interview and compare, or instead of summarizing, apply concepts to our class discussion. So AI doesn't know what was discussed in class, so you relate it to things like that. I made a assignment design framework, and this is the way I look at assignments. And the first question I ask myself is, what do I want students to know, do, or become as a result of this assignment? What's the objective? And then once you determine what that objective is, the next question is, can students reach the same objective while using AI? If yes, redesign the assignment to incorporate AI, because if students are using AI as part of the assignment, they're no longer cheating by using AI. And if they can't, then, you know, why not? Is it because of this, or of course, AI should not be used for everything. But if you go through this framework, it can help you determine maybe there's a way that you can use it, allow students to use it, because for their future jobs, they will absolutely have to know how to use AI for most career fields. And then redesign. How will I clarify the role? And this is a whole step. I'm going to share this presentation with anybody that wants it. I'm just going to kind of go through here quickly because we have just a few minutes left, but you'll have access to this that you can read it later. I did make a GPT that will make, here's the prompt. If you want an assignment that's AI resistant or AI dependent, this is a prompt that I created. And it's in action here. All I had to do is come in here and I said, hi, They asked me for a grade level topic and so on. So I said, first year college, physical fitness, a project, AI dependent, asynchronous online course. It tells me which learning framework it's going to use and why. It then creates the assignment. It has the learning objectives, the instructions, the assessment, reflection paper. So now I have an assignment that's very robust using AI, but the students still benefit. And it tells me why it's using AI in this assignment. This is a really great, so then it said, make a rubric for that assignment, a sample student artifact summary. It made a SMARCL worksheet template, 4-week fitness and wellness plan calendar to go along with the assignment. All that from me just saying this much. Then, of course, I would read it and change it to fit my own type of course and preferences. This on YouTube is where you can see the Chatbot tutorial, how to make those two avatars talk to each other. I also have a tutorial on how to build your own chatbot. One on prompting and video creation, another on data analytics. Next step is to practice. Get on ChatGPT and have a conversation. Just converse naturally, be creative. You might have questions in your head about something, just ask it. What do you think about this? And then have a conversation with it. Get good at using it like that. And once you do, then start learning and incorporating more of the advanced prompts. And a friend of mine just yesterday was asking me a whole bunch of questions about a different medical condition. And I'm very familiar with that condition, so I was answering her. And then I sent a link where I did a prompt in ChatGPT, sent it to her, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't been using AI for this. Because it had all of her questions answered in that one prompt. But just converse with it. And then once you feel like you're not getting the results you want, then try some of the more advanced prompting techniques. This is a QR code for the presentation. I will also email this to Darlene, that hopefully she can share. That's my LinkedIn. I share AI related information for education. So please connect on LinkedIn. That's my YouTube channel if you want access to those tutorials. And I'm glad you were all able to attend today. And if you do start using it in your classroom or on your job and you're doing some cool things, please share that with me. I would love to hear your success stories.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Yes. So Timothy, so have you done any evaluations with your students to find out aspects of the AI components that you've incorporated that they have liked most or they have most benefited from?
What I have done in my classes is creating the chatbot is an extra credit assignment, so they don't have to do it. However, there is a lot of AI integration into my course. For example, I created a special platform for kinesiology students of any college, but I'm using it in my courses called eFit. And students can take their required nutrition paper, they put it in there, and it compares their writing to the rubric and the assignment requirements, and it gives them instant feedback. It'll say, you should have written 3 things, you only wrote about 2, so please expand on that area. So it gives them instant tutoring without rewriting anything for them. That's one thing. Another thing is, based on their own fitness levels and preferences, there's a form with drop-down boxes that they can create custom cardio, weight training, and meal plans. So like meal plans, they can select their budget, how much money they can spend on groceries per week, and what their goals are, what type of foods they like, and we'll create a meal plan for them. I also have an online ebook where I created a program in which students reading through the ebook, and there's a word, a sentence, or a paragraph that they don't understand. If they highlight it, a prompt comes up and it says, do you want to save this to your notes, or 2, do you want Professor eFit to explain it to you differently? If they select 2, then it will automatically take whatever that concept was, explain it in very easy to understand terms in a very encouraging and personalized way to the student. Those types of integration into my courses have been very powerful because since I started using that, the quality of their nutrition writing assignment has increased. The guidance they get of how to follow the assignment requirements has definitely helped. And the fact that they get that instant tutoring on the ebook and they can create those programs, I've only heard really great feedback from it.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.